Hi book besties, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are seeing my face for the first time, hi, my name is Maya and I like to talk about books here on the internet. I'm going to be talking to you guys about my monthly wrap-up for March. Let's get into it. All of March, I have been participating in a month-long team-based readathon hosted by Covers with Cassidy, called Realmathon, and I have been having such a good time. I've been vlogging every single day throughout. Well, let me rephrase that. I have been vlogging my reading experience throughout, and I have been posting that as extra content here on this channel for the entire month of March, along with the regular videos that I have been doing on Wednesdays, and I've been posting those vlogs on Saturdays, and that has been so much fun. We kind of flipped the script this week because the last 72 hours of the readathon landed literally on Monday, so I was going to just like edit all of that, give me some time to get my thoughts together, and then post the vlog on Wednesday and then the official wrap up and my thoughts on Saturday, just to give me time just in case I needed a little bit more than normal, because there was just so much reading. There were so many books and I didn't know if I wanted to include the soft DNFs because I read them and I'm going to read them again. I just didn't feel like I had the time for the full experience that I know I would have with them, so I kind of softly DNF'd them. And those books are Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. It is the second book in the Nevermore series that is very Harry Potter reminiscent, and this one is kind of like anti-hero though. This one is kind of giving, you know, Morrigan is our hero, but she's like the anti-hero to everyone else because she's not a villain, but everything is her fault basically, even though it's really not. The poor thing just lives and exists and everyone blames her for stuff. It's so weird. But then again, Harry Potter lived and existed and he was the answer to all of life's problems. So what do we even really know at this point? It's really a good world and a good reading experience. I just wanted to make sure that I had that and didn't rush it just for the sake of a submission. So I soft DNF that so that I could come back to that later. And then I also kind of softly DNF'd, without really softly DNFing it, the Brothers Grimm Fairy Tales, the illustrated edition, because I don't know, like with those types of fairy tales, they're so short and tiny that I thought they were going to be a palate cleanser in between reads. But I mean, if you guys have watched any of my vlogs, you know that the reading experience was quite chaotic. I kind of lost the plot with that, but that doesn't mean that I won't go back and not read them. It just means I'll read them at a slower pace, and that is totally okay. We'll see if I finish it by the end of the year or if I go into 2026. The first book that I read for this readathon was The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. This is following a girl named Lay, and she had just lost her mother to this word along the screen, and she's really going through it. Like, we're really following her grieving process from the moment that she discovers this to the funeral, to finding out what happened literally moments before for her, to weeks of not talking with anyone, not being a part of the world, to her seeing this bird. And she just firmly believes that this bird is her mother trying to give her a message, because she hears her mom coming out of this bird, the voice of her mom coming out of this bird. So she believes that this bird is her mom, and this bird talks to her and then goes away for a bit, comes back, and this time is holding a package from her grandparents, who she's never really met or heard about, barely even knows they exist. And so she shows her dad this. And at first, like, her dad doesn't believe her about the bird. Her dad doesn't really believe her about anything that she talks about. He's very reluctant to even try to act like he believes her because he thinks that this is just grief talking, and she's seeing things, and she's seeing things she wants to see, and he is hurting and grieving, so he too is going through that process, but he doesn't want to go through the process, but his daughter is forcing him to confront the process by talking about this bird. So he's just getting mad, lashing out, but then not physically, but just getting mad and telling her, just like, stop talking about it, it's not real, you'll get over it, you'll stop seeing this bird eventually. The bird comes back with the contents though, and what was in that she showed her father, and her father may not have believed her about the bird, but he saw what was in there, and he was like, we're going to go see your grandparents. She comes to find out that the contents that this bird gives her was burned, and they were the ones that burned it. Like, they sent it, they received the package back, and it was painful, so painful that they burned it literally there. And by there, I mean in a different country. So how in the world did this bird get these contents? So they go see her grandparents, and there's a conversation that didn't end well between the grandparents and the father. And for context, Lei does know a little bit of the language, but she's not fluent. She understands barely words, like just singular words, so she can pick words out, but the context isn't there for her. But her father knows the language, but because of this conversation and the way that it ended, the father left, leaving her in the care of her grandparents, and she doesn't know what her grandparents are saying at all. Like, he just left and she's there and they have to figure it out. There's a new character that comes in, Fang, and she is kind of helping her learn the language, learn the culture. She seems very excited for her to know about this world and about this life, and want her to become a part of the family and integrate her more into it and make her feel comfortable. She was very helpful in those outings because, as I said, they went on outings, and these outings were to places that her mother knew and grew up in and loved, because she believed that the closer she was to those places, she would find the bird. And they did find the bird a couple of times, but they were not able to catch it. And she believed with all her heart that if she was able to catch this bird, she would be able to hear her mom, and she would be able to get all of the answers to her questions that she still had based on the note that was written, and just in general that she had. And as she's going along through this process, she's realizing maybe that wasn't the point. And maybe when her mom said, I want you to remember, and then crossed it out on the note, that she just means, I want you to just remember. Remember me. Remember the good times. Remember the bad times. Look at it as a whole and remember who I was as a person. Learn more about me and where I grew up, who my parents were, what my culture was like, what I loved. Remember it. We're just really following along on a beautiful journey with this book. I gave it a 5-star. The author really used the heavier themes well. I don't think it was bad in any way. I do think that the way that she integrated the use of color was beautiful, because Lei was an artist, so she saw the world in color, and sometimes in colors that people who aren't artists probably don't see or describe. I mean, maybe they see it, but they don't know how to describe it. Therefore, it kind of loses a little bit of the sparkle and the vibrancy because we don't know the names of those colors, but it's written out here, and it's so beautiful to watch her explain this world in color and explain what she's going through in color as well. I think that was handled so beautifully, and I think it was handled very well in terms of the grief, having her art be a part of that as well, because I think there is a point in here of the grieving process, not just because her mother died, but also because of what the family dynamic used to be and the way that family dynamics were used. I think they were handled very well. It's just all of the heavier topics I think were handled very, very well. And you have to be very careful with those, right? Like, I mean, everyone tries to be. It's just so hard to really be that way with it in writing, I feel. sometimes, and this author nailed it. I would say if you're going through any type of grief, you may want to hold off on this book just because it will make you cry. It's beautiful, it's lovely, and I would recommend it to really anyone because it was just a real, honest time. It's hard for me to say it was a fun time because of the topic that it was, but it was a good time, if that makes sense. So that was a 5-star from me. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I give this book a 4-star. So sorry. I don't know why I said 5. There's just something that just made me not say 5-star, and so I trust my gut. So I'm saying it's a high 4-star. So if you want to say like 4.5, 4.75, I don't know. Moving on to Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This was the second book that I read, and whew, this book is so good. We follow along 2 people in this one, Citra and Rowan, and they are apprentices to Scythe Faraday. And for context, this world is perfect. We have conquered death. So there was a system of checks and balances put in place by us to kill off excess population by creating the Scythedom. And what these scythes do is they go around gleaning people, aka killing people, because we apparently can't say killing and use the word. We have to make it pretty sounding so that, you know, it lessens the blow of what we're actually doing, which is murdering people. Anyway, but they are the checks and balances, so people, while they may not like them, they're just like, well, they are necessary. And it's like, yeah, but nature kind of does that for you. Immortality kind of does that for you. You know, the beauty of human life is that we have this one life to live, and we have purpose, we have meaning, every single one of us, and you completely just obliterated that by thinking that, you know, you guys are now gods, but whatever. And that's the world that they're growing up in. However, these 2 seem to have the scythe mind, aka they think that the scythedom is awful. They know it's necessary because that's what they were told, but they think it's awful. And Scythe Faraday notices this, and of course, you know, scythes have to take on apprentices because there has to be new scythes for the ever-increasing population. People don't die, but there needs to be a quota of people who are killed, and the more and more the population grows, and the more that this world could be sustained by the Thunderhead, which is the all-knowing, all-powerful computer brain that created this world in the first place, then they need to have more scythes to be able to glean. And also, you know, killing people constantly as your life career, that could be draining. There are scythes who do glean themselves, and according to protocol, you cannot stop a scythe from gleaning themselves if they want to glean themselves, because that is what they wanted to do. So, you know, and also scythes families are granted complete and total immunity for as long as the scythe is alive, I believe. So that means you can't touch those people. There's a lot of scythes. There's a lot of family members for scythes. Now, I think they only give access to immunity for direct family, but even still, that's a lot of people. So that's a lot of people also taken out of the equation that you can't glean. There are also certain borders that the scythes can't glean past. So what do? They need more people, obviously. And so they train new people every few years or so. I think every couple of years, every year. Scythe Faraday decided to take on 2 apprentices, Citra and Rowan, and these two sincerely just like don't want to be a scythe, and Scythe Faraday is just like, well, that's exactly why I chose you, because we should not want scythes who want to kill people. That is the basic rule for all of Scythedom. Do not choose a person who likes to kill. Now, are there people that snuck in under that rule? Yes, absolutely. So now we need to make sure we're a little bit better about that and choose people who literally cannot, will not despise all of this killing to be the ones to kill, because that makes it better for some reason. Anyway, Citra and Rowan are chosen. They start their apprenticeship. The Scythedom finds out, and they are not happy about this. A lot are mostly just jealous of Scythe Faraday because he's respected. He's respected, he's good at what he does, and they really have no way to get to him because he follows protocol in the way that he's supposed to. So like there's nothing to attack him with, except for Citra and Rowan. So they decide they're gonna have him battle it out for the Scythedom, and whoever doesn't get the ring by the end of the apprenticeship is gonna... Scythe Faraday tries to eliminate that problem by gleaning himself, supposedly, allegedly, and they're supposed to be free. Except they're not, because one Scythe decided he liked the violence way too much. So he got Rowan. This Scythe, by the way, is named Scythe Goddard. He got Rowan. Another Scythe, Scythe Madame Curie, the Dame of Death, got Citra. And now there is still gonna be the battle to the death. Why? Because morbid entertainment for the win. So they are under two different types of scythes and are training underneath them. Will their morals and ethics change because of this? You guys will have to read to find out. It was just a great time. I like the writing, I like the world building, I like the characterizations, I like the full rounded characters, I like the elements underneath the political tone of this book. I kind of really like it. Like the politics of this world, I love talking about, I love diving into, because it's literally based on morals and ethics at this point. It's not even really based on any of the other stuff. Definitely for any sci-fi fans who kind of like the science but who are not that sciencey and who don't want the in-depth inner workings of all the techie stuff, this is a good book. Also, it's more futuristic, it's more think piecey, I think, than it is like techie and science. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, I would definitely recommend this. You know what? Here's how I would recommend it. If you had that dystopian phase, if you guys know, you know, or if you guys are getting into a dystopian phase, this might be it. Like, even though this is futuristic, let's be real. A lot of the dystopian books are uncomfortably futuristic and more present day now than they were years ago, and they were still uncomfortably realistic even then. Yeah, but I gave this book 5 stars. So definitely one that I would suggest to certain groups, but definitely to the ones who are more into the dystopian type of thing, and also who like think pieces that are not obvious and preachy in our characters, because it's not overly obvious and preachy. They do talk about morals and ethics a lot because duh, this world, but they do it in a way that is very human, very age related to who the characters are. But you can go into it deeper for yourself if you want, like I did, and I loved it. I did it with the 3rd book, and I know I mentioned this in the vlogs or something. I did it with the 3rd book, and I absolutely loved it, and I became more of an analytical reader around that time. And going back over this to this world to see that it was there from the start anyway, and I just didn't notice it, is actually awesome, and I enjoyed it, and that made my little analytical heart happy. I did so many markups on this book and quotes and stuff. I was just like, I was arguing. This one, for example, I can show you the page. Can you guys see that? Okay. From the Gleaning Journal of H.S. Curie, the ending of human life used to be in the hands of nature, but we stole it. Now we have a monopoly on death. We are its sole distributor. So good. But also I said, playing God. Like, that was it, playing God. Like, that's it. I had so many thoughts on that, by the way. I'm like, you are literally playing God. And then I went off on this whole thing. I literally remember me, like, just putting the book down, saying what I had to say. arguing with it. Well, not really arguing, because I think we're on the same page with that. Like, you guys are playing God, basically, and you guys kind of know that. Some of you use it to your advantage. Some of you do try and, like, rein it in, but it's... the sanctum still exists, so... you know, and you're still killing people, so what does that even mean? Anyway, yeah. I went on a whole thing, and then I picked the book right up and was like, oh, okay, loving it. So that's what happened there with that one. And then the third book that I read loosely, this was the DNF'd one, and I'm sad. Silk. The Caitlin R. Kiernan. This is where I was going through it with this book, because I was reading it and I had zero clue what was going on. And even now, I have zero clue as to what is going on. I don't even know how to summarize the book right now, because I read the back and then I was kind of getting that sense in the book, but then I made the mistake of reading the accolades at the bottom to you guys. So apparently this is the winner of the International Horror Guild Award for Best First Novel, and then a finalist for the Bram Stoker Award for Best First Novel. Horror, you guys. Apparently this is in the horror genre, and from the back of the book, it sounds like it could be. Like, let me read it to you. Like, let me just read to you guys what the summary is from the back, the elevator pitch, if you will. They are young misfits, society's cast-offs, urban strays looking for a thrill, something cheap, anything to get them through the night, sleepwalking on caffeine, nicotine, and drugs. They wait out the dawn in death rock clubs and shadowy back alleys. Into their midst comes the enigmatic Spider, a patron saint of the alienated and lost. She invites them into her mesmerizing world of ritual and ceremony, blood and fire, a realm of vengeful gods, of exiled spirits harboring the dark secrets of hell and the darker secrets of heaven. Is she their guardian angel, come to force them to face their greatest fears even as she battles to save their ravaged souls? Or a much more terrifying force sent not to redeem, but to destroy? And then there's a blurb that I did not read, but a debut novel most young horror dark fantasy writers cannot begin to approach. A wonderful book. Peter Straub blurbed that. I don't know who he is. I am just barely getting into the world of horror. See, here's the thing. It sounds good, but then you read it and you get confused. And I got to page 174, which was exactly 50% of the way through this book, because that is what I needed for submission. That or 200 pages, depending on how chunky the book is, you know. It doesn't match up. It doesn't, because it's looking like there's this other girl who I can't even remember the name of. This is how, like, dead I was with this book. But there was this other girl who was underneath her who was basically like her apprentice? I don't know. Like, they were a couple of years apart. And she was young too. That's what got me. I was like, oh, you recruited her when she was so young. I can't. She could have gone down such a better road, but you got her when she was so young. She was the one that seemed like she was like this otherworldly being, because she got a certain thing. I really know what I'm talking about when it comes to drugs. She got a certain type of drug. Apparently it was rare. You can only get it from certain places, certain distributors. I don't know. But somehow one of the guys in the group got this thing and they were about to take it, and this girl was like, no. I know what that is. Let me do a ritual around it because that's gonna be the best time for us. So they agreed, and she put together a ritual. Days on end, she would not eat, she would not drink, she was focused. After she finished creating this ritual, the first thing that she did was eat a sandwich. And then she was like, okay, here, to one of the guys, here, get the stuff, we're doing this ritual. And they did it, she wanted to do it in this girl Spider's, SPYDER, by the way. She wanted to do this thing in the girl's basement, and the girl had some trauma surrounding the basement, and she was like, anything but the basement. And the girl was like, give me a reason. And Spider was like, no. You don't do it in the basement, period. Or I'm not joining. And she's just like, well, I worked really hard on this, so boys, take it to the basement. She went to the basement with the boys, and they left Spider upstairs, and they did the ritual. They did. And she traps them in her basement by nailing the door shut so that they can't get back up and out. Meanwhile, these drugs are taking them on a journey, like the worst type of journey, and they believe that this is real. And for all intents and purposes, it might be. I genuinely don't know anymore because I don't know what I thought, honestly. I'm still trying to find out what year we're even in because that would make up a lot more context for the area that we're in, and then I need to find out what area we're in because it sounds like a certain area, and then no, it really doesn't. So I don't even know what's going on. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that. And then I need to figure out who's who and how are they even remotely related to each other? Why are they related to each other? Like, not related, but like, how are they attached to each other? How do they know each other? It literally doesn't feel like any of them know anybody that is knowing anybody in these circles, except then apparently they do out of nowhere because that's how this book went. And literally none of it seems to be true horror yet. Like the trip that they went on with the drugs, that may potentially actually be real or like a sign of, like, dare I say, a depiction of another plane with ours that's real that we don't see? Question mark? I really don't know what happened here. So DNF'd. Therefore, no rating. But if it did, it would be low though, because I didn't understand anything. And I'm okay with not understanding certain elements to get the answer later on. That I understood, which is why I was so okay with when I was on page 30 getting to page 70, and then when I was on page 70 getting to page 174, because I was like, there has to be some sort of rounding out of this, right? And it seems like there might be, but like, it's not a rounding out, it's trying to connect something that should have been connected like earlier on, like the strings attached on the board. Like, it should have already been attached together. We should already have some sort of commonality, some sort of something that ties the story together. Nothing. Literally nothing. I'm like, what is happening? So, anyway, that's beside the point. I also made the comment, and I think this might be helpful for anyone who wants to read this. I did make the comment that it felt like a draft that got feedback that used some of the feedback but didn't use all of it, and then forgot to go through another beta read before going to the publisher and getting that through and then debuting it. I also compared it to, it felt like the workshop edition of a published work, you know, because there is a difference between workshop edition and published work. You obviously know what you're doing. You tend to, this is gonna sound mean, it's not, this is just how it is. You tend to sound more intellectual in like a dictionary than you would normally. And then also you try to use every single technique in the book that people tell you is good to do and to capitalize on, but you overdo it to the point where you're just like, this doesn't even make sense. And by that I mean imagery or metaphor. You can have good imagery, you can have good metaphor, and sometimes you can have it by happy accident, and those are the best ones. Having it by happy accident, where it just flows into the story, where you're not forcing the story to go around every other metaphor. Because it feels descriptive, it feels like there's more to the writing than there is, but it's all show. It's all talk, it's no action. There's no substance. It's so shallow. You know what I'm saying? So it feels like that. It really does in a lot of areas. Like, and I just mean with like the imagery and the metaphor, there's a lot of them constantly, and it just, mostly imagery. There's a lot of trying to describe things in such a detailed type of way to prove that you know how to do the imagery right. And it's like, no. The best imagery just comes from your natural way that you speak, maybe a little bit more dressed up sometimes, but it fits within the story, it fits the characters, it fits the world. None of that fits this world. Like, I'm sorry. Honestly, I would appreciate trashy, because that's the way the world is. Like, the writing, if the writing can make sense with the world, perfect. You know, I mean, it might be a little bit cringy, maybe, who knows? But if the writing was a little bit more trashy, a little bit more, I don't know why crude is the only word that's going in my head, but like a little bit more, less polished, it would feel natural to the world and it would feel less out of place. Last, but certainly not least, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I just finished it last night and I have so many thoughts, and I really want to just sit with it and create my own video of my thoughts on this book. But I will just say we are following along our girl Violet. We do get Zayden's point of view at one point, who is our MMC. She is our FMC. So female main character, male main character. Okay, so Violet is our female main character and we are following her, and she is going through this writer's academy. Her mother and her sister are battling it out in the office because her sister is like, she is not equipped to do this, and the mother is like, this is my last name, I don't care. And Violet has no choice but to go into the writer's quadrant, face the parapet, which is the first thing that you need to do to even get to the school, and it kills off double-digit percentages of people. Many people die just to get into this school, to go into a school that allows killing at any point in time, as long as it's not your own squad or not your own leaders or whatever. Okay, she's gonna be facing death every single day, she thinks, because she's General Sorrengail's daughter. And General Sorrengail is respected and hated in equal measure. Actually, that's not true. She's probably more hated. And so she has a target on her back from day one. She also has some sort of illness. We never really get the actual illness, I don't think. I mean, it may be hinted at, maybe I'm just dumb with illnesses and stuff, but she has constant pain everywhere. I think it's, I don't know if it has to do with muscle tissue or just something with the bone. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so she has to battle that. She is smaller, she's weaker. She only got 6 months worth of training with her mother before going to this thing because she always thought that she was going to be a scribe with her father. And that ended very quickly because her brother had passed away, and because of her brother's passing, the father got a heart condition, and on the second time it took his life. And so she has no one to defend against her mother being like, that's not okay, except for her sister, who is also, who went through the Writers Academy. Both her brother and her sister went through the Writers Academy, passed. Mira with flying colors, the sister, and she's in the army now. General Sorengale doesn't give a crap about her family or her daughter, and so she sends her to the Writers Quadrant, and she makes it past the parapet, and now she has a target on her back every single day. And this one particular dude, Jack Barlow, we hate him, just wants her gone, wants her dead. Xaden Riorson, we come to find, does want her dead, but not for long. He's also my book boyfriend. We have allies here as well. We have Dane, who is her childhood best friend. He can go. We have Rhiannon, who she meets. Love her, badass. And then we eventually get more people into the mix. We get Rydok, a fellow first year from the same section, and he wasn't switched. We have Sawyer, who is a returning first year. So it's said that if a dragon doesn't bond with you, you kind of go through the schooling until you either die or get bonded. Lovely, right? We meet Imogen, who is a higher year. I think she's second year. She is always with Xaden. Come to find, we eventually meet Garrick, Xaden's right-hand man, and like best friend, closest brother in arms. We meet Liam, also a brother to Xaden, and actually I think they were adopted together, so they are technically brothers in that sense, even though they are separate. We meet Xaden's cousin at some point too. I think his name is Bodhi, Bodhi. And then just so many more characters as well. We meet all of the professors, we see some of the generals, the actual king at one point. But we're going through this world, we're following Violet. She is trying to just survive this academy and hopefully not die. That's literally all it is. She just doesn't want to die at this point. But she ends up, of course, bonding one of the most powerful dragons in existence. And not only bonding the most powerful dragon, bonding 2 dragons. And she is now forever and always connected to an enemy that wants her dead, so everyone thinks. But does he really? Yeah, that's about as far as I'm gonna get without going into spoilery territory, and I'm a yapper, so we'll get there eventually. This book was a 5-star. I loved it. It was amazing, and yeah, I could say so much. It takes you on such an emotional roller coaster. My goodness, this author is so good. You go from laughing one minute to blushing the next to literally wanting to a character to just feeling so much sympathy and empathy to tears. It runs you through the entire emotional I think I said emotional, but I felt like I said emotional gambit. This author is so good. The world building is actually insane. The character building, chef's kiss. I love the just character interactions, the way that they bounce off of each other, just like flawless. She has an entire discussion multiple times with multiple characters, so many characters, and you know each one. You really do. Like, you know their personality. Immediately you see a thing, you're like, Rydok, Rhiannon. It says their names right after. But if you happen to like skim read just the dialogue, you'll know who it is. If you see just the names, you'll know what they're about to say. And sometimes it's even better than you think. Like, there was this there was this one discussion. Literally, I think it was the games. It was the games, I think, where they all were huddled together in a group. And Zayden wasn't there. And I don't think Dane was there because they were the higher... what's it called? They were in a higher position. So sometimes the wing leaders and also the people below them, they had names. I didn't really care to know that their positions because all I knew was Zayden was wing leader. That's all I wanted to know, you know? So, and Garrick was his right hand, so obviously he was up there with him. So, you know, those guys weren't there. Zayden, Garrick, Dane. They weren't there, but it was the others, you know, Imogen, and then a couple of other second years. And then by that point they had Liam with them because they transferred him to that section to protect Violet. I don't think that was spoilery. And then you had Rhiannon, Rydog, Sawyer. We love them, by the way. Sawyer is great. We love him. I wish I had more of his interaction with the group, but he was like one of those, I'm just gonna sit back and watch and eat popcorn until I feel like I need to make some commentary on the movie type of thing. So that's what his character was there for. And then it was, yeah, some other people's as well. And they were all talking about how they were gonna like get a certain thing to win the games. Oh yeah, they were talking about what they what they had to steal that is like critical in battle. So it can range from anything from a professor to an object to intel. And honestly, on the battlefield, at least for most of the battles, intel is the key thing. Like you can have the best team, the best powers, but if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a strategy, they can win just simply by having a better strategy, the enemy. So, you know, they are trying to figure out how to get the best intel, and Violet has this idea in the back of her mind and she's kind of stewing on it for a second. Meanwhile, Rhiannon and Rydog are just like going at it like siblings, the banter back and forth. He's just like, well, I had this suggestion, and Rhiannon is just like it literally says, Rhiannon just puts her hand over his mouth because she's like, don't say it. He's like, you don't even know what I was gonna say. And she said, don't have to. You were probably gonna say something along the lines of like stealing one of the professor's underwear or something. He's just like, I mean, yeah, not a bad idea. I love those two. So I need two separate books now. I need Garrick, Liam, and Zayden. Just their beginnings. I just need that. And then Rydog and Rhiannon, and their growing friendship. I just need those books to come out, please. That'd be so great. I would love that. Oh, did I say this was a 5-star? This was a 5-star. Actually, this was like, can I give it a 6-star? Because this was so good. I'm giving it a 6. But wait, but then I would have to give Nevermore a 6 too. It's not that I can't, it's just that I already stated that it was a 5. So I'm gonna keep this at 5, and then I'm gonna like make a video of all of the books that I would actually change to 6, because I feel like I have a lot of 5-star reading experiences, which is not bad, but I feel like I have so many 5-star experiences, all for different reasons, and technically and just objectively and subjectively, they're just so good in terms of standard that, I don't know, I feel like I might need to get a 6-star category, like for the end of the year, for the top books that I truly, like, there is no flaw, like, at all with the experience that I had, plus the technical everything. I think I should do that. I think we're gonna do that. Anyways, I have been jibber jabbering for so long. This is gonna be such a long wrap up, but you know what? I feel like I am that person. I am that reviewer that will tell you like everything that I possibly can without going into spoilery territory. And I will still think that there was more to say. And then I'll look at the actual time that I've been talking and be like, never mind. So never mind. I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, thank you guys so much for your interaction with me on all of my Realmathon content, or my content in general, but specifically Realmathon, because I had so much fun with that, and I can't wait to do this again. I think in May, Books with Lexi is having a month-long readathon, so gonna be joining that, obviously, and we'll keep the party going then, but we need to have some chill vibes, chill waves, and then we'll go on to the chaos of whatever ship we're gonna be on, and try to use that imagery because I think we're on the water, if I'm not mistaken, for this readathon is what she kind of teased. I don't know. I will be leaving all of my stuff linked in the description box below, and by stuff I mean my Instagram, my TikTok, my lifestyle channel, all of that I will leave linked in the description box down below. And for the last and final time, I will be putting up the Covers with Cassidy, Books with Lexi, and Leandra the TBR Zeros accounts down below as well, because Realmathon organizer, family heads, monarchs, figures. Go and check that out if you feel so inclined to do so. And if you also feel so inclined to leave me a like on this video to let me know that you guys like videos like this, that would be much appreciated. If you guys want to subscribe to our growing community, feel free to do so. And thank you guys so much for being the best bookish bestie that ever was, is, or ever will be. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye!